As we've mentioned throughout the first part of the show today, the first hour, a number of very familiar names are going to be out here throughout the day today, and some of those names are starting to trickle their way in. Jim Leland is one of them. We're expecting him at some point today. And Andy Bennis, and there's a lot of names. And another name that a lot of people will recognize, especially baseball fans, is Jack McKeon, who joins us now here on set, I guess is what we'll call it.
Yeah, we'll call it on set.
We'll call our little tent and our makeshift studio here a set. Why not? One, thanks for the time. I know you just walked up, and we appreciate you stopping by and having a little chat with us. We were kind of joking there in the break that it's been a long time since you've been at this ballpark.
Well, I think the last time I've been at the ballpark is 1979 when I was managing the Denver Bears, and then I was here in either 69 or 70 or 71 with the Omaha Royals.
Mm-hmm. Now, the reason, obviously you never coached the triplets team that we had here,
no,
but you made a couple stops over the years.
Yeah, I was always against them.
Oh,
and they allowed you back in, huh?
Yeah, they were good fans.
You had to come in the trunk or what?
They were good fans, really. The ballpark in those days wasn't too nice, but they've done a great job in renovating this place and fixing up the area. I was surprised when I came in yesterday and saw the ballpark. I recollect back to the 60s and
Sure.
70s and said, God, I thought they'd put a bomb in this place.
We were talking that exact same thing. Coach Leland had said in a newspaper article, I guess, yesterday when the Courier Press caught up with him. Gordon Engelhart, the Courier Press, had a couple quotes from him. That's what he said. Ballpark wasn't the greatest, but it was home. Like an old shoe. Didn't look good, but it was comfortable.
Yeah, and they've done a marvelous job. Even the surroundings of this ballpark is congratulations to whoever was behind this, but it's fun coming out here now. Before it was, and you got to realize too, we were talking 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
Things weren't copacetic like they are today.
Well, and that's the thing too. You played in a lot of different ballparks, as you said. You managed in Omaha. You managed out in Denver. What were the other ballparks like compared to Bosse Field? Was Bosse Field kind of because, any of us that have played sports over the years, my high school field was a pit.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that. I live in North Carolina, and I go to Greensboro a lot. They just built a new stadium about 8 or 9 years ago, and it's a beautiful thing. And I was talking to some scout, old veteran scout there the other night, and I said, can you imagine the way this ballpark is? I said, we never played anything like this. We had to go out there and get with rakes and get the rocks off the field before the game started if you didn't want to get hurt. And, I would say, to answer your question, there was probably a number of ballparks in those days that were comparable to Bosse Field, where Des Moines, Iowa, for example, Tulsa. Mm-hmm. There were old type stadiums that no one, even when I went back to Omaha, they laid out 7 years without professional baseball, and I came back in there. And I had to tell them, we weren't drawing anybody. I said, well, why would anybody want to come out here? You sit down in these bleachers, get splinters in your tail and everything else. Finally, they woke up and painted it, put new seats in. I did a great job.
That's the thing. No, all these ballparks you think about now, they're all gone.
Yep.
They're all gone. And this one, in your own words, looks better than it ever has. That you can remember.
They've done a great job here. And, the funny thing is, a lot of them are now going downtown. Mm-hmm. And they've rejuvenated the downtown area. You can walk to the stadium, nice, clean places. And, some of these towns have got to wake up and come up with some new ideas and build a ballpark downtown.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that, too, because we've had that discussion a number of years ago. There was a push to put a new baseball stadium in our downtown.
Yeah.
And it never came to fruition, fortunately, because we think, really, if it would had, I don't know if there'd be any use for this place anymore.
Well, the point is, too, you got so many, so much going on in the political arena today where taxes and everything else, and people have to vote on it, and they're certainly going to say, well, they forget about a bond issue, but they're going to say, hey, it's more taxes. And the ones that don't want it say, well, we're going to raise your taxes. Why should we give taxes? But they got to realize it's recreation. It's great for the community. It's great for juvenile delinquency. Keep the kids off the road. Old folks can go to the game and enjoy it. They don't realize the benefits of something like this.
Jack McKeon, our guest, World Series winning manager, has been through Bosse Field a couple of times, not with the Evansville Triplets, but had done some games against the Triplets. And it's certainly a pleasure to have you here, and we appreciate you stopping by for a few minutes. No, not yet. No.
I'm just checking out the hardware.
I'm just chasing me out of here.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just thanking you again. Can't thank you enough, and I gotta do my thing.
You see those?
Oh, I see those. Those are some two.
I know we're in radio,
rings.
but those, yeah,
those are some nice rings. Now,
no, Hall of Fame, New Jersey, and Hall of Fame, North Carolina.
Okay.
Hall of Fame. So
no World Series ring.
I didn't wear that. It's too valuable.
Okay. So what do you do with it then?
I put it in the safe.
You don't show it off to
I show it off when I.
It's safe at home. You don't have it like in a safety deposit box.
No, I got it safe at the home, but I wear it once in a while when I go to special functions. Mm-hmm. And I forgot to bring it out here, but that's it.
A couple Hall of Fame rings.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
We're talking about Bosse Field, a story off talking about the surrounding area, how beautiful and
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't like that in the 60s and 70s. And I remember one thing. Talk about remembering something about Bosse Field. It was one night, Gail and Cisco, my pitching coach, and Jim Dudley, my trainer. We were the last three guys out of the clubhouse, so we called a cab to go downtown to the executive inn. We stayed. Anyway.
Speaking of things not there anymore.
Right.
yeah.
There's a new stadium in its place right now.
Yeah. But I used to smoke cigars all the time, and my players would like to have a little fun with me, so they went out and bought a bunch of loaders and loaded my cigars. Well, I didn't know this, so we hopped in the cab, and I swear to God, and I lit up a cigar before we got in the cab. We just about got out of the parking lot with this cabbie when the cigar blew. This guy jumped the curb. I think I hit one of them trees over there.
Good gravy. See, those are the things, too. The stories couldn't get away with that anymore. For one, they won't let you smoke a cigar in the cab. So
no,
you
can't smoke anywhere.
Yeah.
That's why I quit.
So it could happen. I tell you what, though, we are going to move on here a little bit, I believe, and we'll get to see who else we can find. I'll tell you what, it's got to be nice for you, too, seeing some people you probably haven't seen in years.
Well, my brother lives here, so that's great. He's been trying to get me to come back for years to the fall, the January hot stove.
Mm-hmm. Not a minute.
That's a great deal, yeah.
And I've always been either booked or something I couldn't. So when he called me, he asked me to come out here for this thing. I said, well, at least I get a chance to repay him for coming down to see me all the time. So it's been, he, when I drafted Andy Bennis, I came here, well, I was lying, didn't I? Yeah, I was lying because I was here in '84.
All right, well, there we go.
But
you weren't lying, you just forgot.
I just forgot.
Yeah, I was the
I do that every day.
I was the general manager of the Padres. We had the number one pick in the country. And my brother was a scout for us, and he had recommended this guy Bennis. And so having the number one pick, I wanted to go out and see him and Avery over with the Braves. He was over in Detroit. So one day I arranged a swing to come here and then hop on the plane and go over to Detroit and see Avery, back-to-back days. And that was the first time I got to see Andy Bennis. And people say, well, why did you take him? I said, well, first of all, it was a choice between him or Olson, Greg Olson from the Baltimore Orioles. You like both of them. You couldn't lose on either one of them. But I said, hey, my brother recommended this guy. I got to take my brother's guy.
I think you made the right pick.
It turned out great, yeah.
Now, will you be
a heck of a pitcher?
And I was his first manager, too, in the big leagues because I brought him to the big leagues.
Well, there you go. It's such a small world to some degree, isn't it? Jack McKeon, our guest. It's Ford and O'Brien, ESPN Evansville 105.3 and online, ESPNEvansville.com. Now, will you be sticking around for the game tonight?
I'll let you guys handle your job. I'll get out of here.
Time.
Oh, you're fine. We may even talk to your brother, which, by the way, is McKeon.
Yes, that's what we told.
McKeon,
goes McKeon, brother goes McKeon.
Right.
So,
and if you get stuck and don't have anybody, call me.